Yes, people, how's it going? Welcome back to Lily White Lane, man. I went a bit Geordie there, I don't know why. But welcome back to Lily White Lane. Hope you're doing good, hope you're keeping safe and well, and hope you're having a really good Sunday, wherever you are in the world, and whatever you are planning to get up to today. And you are all very welcome along to the debut of a new show on the channel called the Unbiased Premier League Show. As much as I love Tottenham Hotspur, I also love the Premier League, and I love talking about the Premier League. Hence the fact I've wanted to make this show for quite a while, and hence the fact we're starting it today. You know, I'm looking forward to doing this show. I'm looking forward to doing it once a week, actually, you know, taking a break from talking about Spurs and having a chat about the rest of the games on the weekend. And yeah, it's been a very, very exciting game week. Normally, I'm going to do these videos after the game week finishes, but there's only one game today on Sunday and one game tomorrow. And we're going to analyse the hell out of the Tottenham game with the match reaction and the debrief. So I thought might as well push it forward and do the Unbiased Premier League show today. And we're going to start things off in today's show by talking about Chelsea versus Arsenal. Really impressed with Chelsea, not so impressed with Arsenal. I thought Chelsea looked absolutely fantastic yesterday. I thought they played some really good football, created some really good chances. Before Arsenal scored that first goal and Sanchez gave it away so poorly, I think Chelsea should have been out of sight, to be honest. They had that Jackson chance where he missed pretty much an open goal. The other Jackson chance where he should have shot it but tried to take it round Raya. Should have been out of sight in that game, yet didn't take their opportunities to put themselves 3 or 4 up. Arsenal got a goal from there. The dynamic of the game changed. Arsenal made it 2-2, and for me, Arsenal didn't deserve anything out of that game. I thought they were really, really poor yesterday. And look, they haven't been really poor all season. They have put in some really good performances, but they're not the same team, Arsenal, as they were last season. Last season, there was a killer instinct about Arsenal. Last season, they were gung-ho. Last season, they were outscore the opposition. This season, they seem to be a little bit more calmer, and at times it's worked. It worked against Manchester City, but at times it hasn't. You know, drawing 2-2 against a 10-man Fulham at home, you should be winning that game. Yesterday against Chelsea, as I say, such a poor performance, really lucky to come out of there with a point. The game against us, lucky to come out of there with a point. We were the better team. We had more big chances created, more possession. At times this season, this calmer approach Arsenal have been taking to games, it hasn't really worked out. And I think if they keep taking this approach in games and keep performing the way they have, they won't pick up as many points as they are right now. The wheels will start to fall off. And look, Arsenal are a very good team. I'm not going to deny that. On paper, they've got some fantastic players. No real standout stars, but some really good, exciting players. But the performances this season, they've not been the same as last season. They really have not been the same as last season. And I think if they keep performing like this, the results will stop coming. They will stop coming, especially when they start playing better teams as well. But look, Arsenal, I'm sure Arsenal fans will probably take a point when you consider that it's at Stamford Bridge. They were 2-0 down. But yeah, not the best performance from Arsenal at all yesterday. I struggled to think of one Arsenal player, if I was doing player ratings, who would get above a 7, because they were all pretty poor, to be honest. And David Raya as well. You know, a lot of hype about this guy when he joined Arsenal. There were, you know, links to Tottenham, and I was one of the people ranting about us getting David Raya and the fact I wanted him over Vicario. I wouldn't take him over Vicario right now. The guy looks an absolute nervous mess, and similarly to Onana, he looks like he's struggling under the pressure at a big club. With the pressure on him at Arsenal, which, you know, wasn't on him, quite frankly, at Brentford, he looks like he's crumbling a little bit. And for that second goal, his positioning's absolutely terrible. It's a brilliant goal from Madrid. Whether he meant it or not, we don't know, and we never will know. We can only take a punt. I personally think he meant it, by the way, you know, he looked, and yeah, that's not a cross for me. That's not a cross. But yeah, Raya, poor positioning there, giving it away a few times as well. Nicholas Jackson, when he should have scored, that was given away by David Raya. Not looking too good, man. Not looking too good. As I say, I was one of the people ranted about the fact we didn't get him right now. I wouldn't change him. I would not change him for Vicario. Someone said you could have David Raya right now and Arsenal can have Vicario. No way, Jose. I ain't taking David Raya. The guy looks an absolute nervous mess, whilst Vicario is so calm and cool under pressure and looks a fantastic shot stopper. So look, Arsenal, not at their best yesterday. Their whole team, I thought, were quite poor, to be honest. Chelsea, on the other hand, I was really impressed with. The last 10 minutes, you know, they did bottle it. You're 2-0 up at home, comfortable, cruising, and yeah, poor pass from Robert Sanchez to give it away to Rice. Really good finish. The momentum of the game changed. Arsenal came away with the point. But as I say, apart from those last 10 minutes, I thought Chelsea were absolutely fantastic in that game. I thought they should have been 3 or 4 up, and that's been one of their issues this season. It's not necessarily been the fact that they've been putting in poor performances, it's been the fact that they haven't been taking their chances. If Chelsea took their chances this season with the performances they've been putting in, they'd be in the top 4 right now, potentially even second or first in the league, because the performances have been really good, but didn't take their chances. And yes, they took a couple of their chances yesterday, but they had 2 from Nicholas Jackson where he should have done better, and if one of those goes in 3-0, Arsenal don't get that comeback. They don't have that momentum if they pull one back. So look, I thought Chelsea were really good though. I thought for the other 80 minutes in the game, they were knocking it about fantastically. They, shown that they can compete with the best of them. Arsenal, I don't think they've been at their best this season like they were last season, but they're still a top team who beat Manchester City before the international break. So to get a point from Chelsea, as I say, from a Chelsea perspective, it's not the worst result in the world. I don't think they'll be happy with it though, because of the way it unfolded. A point, maybe if you're 2-1 down and you score to make it 2-2 and you score the last goal in that game, Chelsea fans are happy. But with the way the game unfolded, I don't think they'll be happy with a point. But I think they should be, to be honest. It's Arsenal. They're a good team, a tough team to beat. They're still unbeaten, even though they've been quite poor this season, if I'm being 100% honest, performance-wise. But yeah, I mean, as I say, it's not the worst result in the world for Chelsea, but I thought they were really good yesterday. I thought Raheem Sterling this season has been absolutely fantastic, looking back to his best, looking like the Raheem Sterling in the Euros from a few years ago. I thought Mudryk yesterday as well, good goal, whether he meant it or not. As I say, I think he did mean it. That's not a cross for me. He did take a little look at goal. So, look, he was really good yesterday. And to be honest, did Pochettino cost them a game a little bit? I think you have to consider that as a reason why they didn't pick up all 3 points, because Chelsea were comfortably knocking it about. It's not a case of, Arsenal were pressing for that goal back. No, Chelsea were comfortably knocking it about, and even when they were 2-0 up, as I say, should have scored a couple more. Pochettino takes off Raheem Sterling. He takes off their most, exciting player, whilst Arsenal bring on Trossard, and Trossard goes on to get a goal. Chelsea have no threat going forward for the rest of the game. So, look, it could have unfolded differently, as I say, but you have to look at that and go, poor substitution from Mauricio Pochettino that potentially costed them the game. But as I say, I think Chelsea fans should be very happy with the performance they put in yesterday. To be honest, I think they should be happy with the performance they've been putting in all season, and I think the results will come. I think Pochettino's a good manager. We all know that. He cost them a little bit yesterday, in my opinion, but I do think he's getting these boys playing this season, and as I say, I think the results will come. They're getting a few results now. That's 3 Premier League games unbeaten. Yeah, I think they'll start to get results now. Brentford at home next week. I'd look at that game, despite Brentford getting a good result this weekend, as a win, and obviously then us, which I do think they'll lose. But yeah, they should start picking up some points now, Chelsea. So fair play to Chelsea, really good performance. Arsenal, not at their best this season. I've not been entirely impressed. I think, some of the performances they've been putting in haven't been brilliant. There's a little bit of a goalkeeper issue there with Raya or Ramsdale. They're, changing them to week in, week out. Yeah, Arsenal, I don't know what's going on. It's not a crisis or anywhere near it, because they're still unbeaten. They're one of the only 2 teams in the Premier League unbeaten. And maybe by the end of this game week, I doubt it. But if Tottenham Hotspur don't beat Fulham or don't get a result against Fulham, they are the only team left unbeaten. But yeah, the performance levels, they're not where they were last season. Maybe you can look at it from a perspective as, Arsenal aren't putting in the best performances, but they're still getting results. But you can also look at it, from the perspective of they're not putting in the best performances. When will the results stop? Do you know what I mean? So, look, we'll have to see what happens with Arsenal. Maybe they'll kick on, but if they keep performing like this, league title, it's not going to happen, in my opinion. It's really not going to happen. But now that we've stopped discussing scum versus scum, let's move on to the next big game that did happen yesterday. The first game after the international break, everyone excited. It wasn't the most exciting game. Liverpool versus Everton. And I have to start off by saying this. The Anfield atmosphere is an absolute myth. That's a Merseyside derby at home. And for 70 minutes of that game, I heard nothing from Liverpool. No chance. Literally silence. Silence. The Anfield atmosphere is a myth. It only is good when they're playing in a massive game. But yesterday is a big game, as I say. It's a chance to go top of the league for the time being, at home in a Merseyside derby against your rivals. And it's a crap atmosphere. So flat yesterday at Anfield. So flat. And Liverpool, to be honest, they weren't at their best. They weren't at their best performance-wise. Yes, they're getting results, but similarly to Arsenal, have they been at their best this season? I mean, you look at the stats, they tell you that they haven't. And yesterday, I thought Everton were unlucky not to, come away with at least a point, to be honest. There were decisions to ponder, to discuss. We're going to get into those. But look, for me, it was a matter of time before Liverpool broke them down, but I wasn't hugely impressed by them yesterday. I wasn't hugely impressed with how much they've been talked up this season. I haven't seen them too much, but in the games that I have seen them, I don't think they've been this unreal team or looked really anything like they did a couple of years ago when they contended for the league title with Manchester City and won the Carabao Cup and FA Cup. Look, as I say, Everton in that first half, in my opinion, they were the better team. I think the Ashley Young yellow is, the first yellow is a yellow. The second yellow is a yellow. Everton fans can't complain about that. But what they can complain about is the fact that Ibrahim Konate didn't get sent off. That's an absolute joke of a decision. An absolute joke of a decision in the second half. Because if he gets sent off and both teams are down to 10 men, it's a different ball game. Instead, he doesn't get sent off. It's a poor refereeing decision. Liverpool keep pressing, and eventually against a 10-man team who, to be honest, don't have that much quality in their side, they were going to break them down. They got the penalty. In my opinion, it is a penalty, but then at the same time, I don't understand how that's a penalty, but the Virgil van Dijk one against Brighton isn't. It goes to show there's no consistency in this league, but Salah slots it away brilliantly. Everton have every right to feel hard done by, and then from there, it was a done deal. Everton down to 10 men at Anfield. They weren't getting anything. Liverpool eventually get their second goal. Really good play from Darwin Núñez, through ball to Salah. And on paper, it looks like a comfortable win for Liverpool. And, you have to look at it that way. But at the same time, could have been a very different game if Ibrahim Konate was sent off, which in my opinion he should have been. He really should have been. It's a foul on the halfway line to stop Everton breaking away when he's already on a yellow. It's a joke. And Klopp knew straight away. Sean Dyche said it in his post-match interview as well. Klopp knew straight away that should have been a red because he took him off 30 seconds later. So look, Everton have every right to feel hard done by. I actually think they've been quite good this season, Everton. I know it sounds weird. Obviously, the performance, or not the performance, the results won't tell you that. But performance-wise, I think in a lot of games that they've lost, they've been the better team. And recently, before this game at Anfield, they've been picking up some good results. And I think, to be honest, as I say, Calvert-Lewin scores that header that he probably should have in the first minute, and Ibrahim Konate gets sent off. Different ball game, but then at the same time, if me aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. It didn't happen. Let's move on. Good result for Liverpool, but as I say, their performances this season, there's been some good ones, but they've not been at their free-flowing best, which some people make them out to be. I'll tell you one player though who's absolutely fantastic. Szoboszlai. I've watched this guy all season. I watched him yesterday even, and yeah, he really is some player. He really is some player. I still think he's underrated and underappreciated, even though people talk about him. I think he should be talked about even more than he already is. The guy is so creative, can do a job defensively, and that midfield three yesterday, I feel a little bit sorry for McAllister because he shouldn't be, being played as a CDM because he doesn't play naturally in that position. But that midfield three on paper, as I say, of McAllister, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, looks absolutely fantastic. But I think McAllister as a DM, I think that's the wrong choice. And for me, I'm looking at Liverpool. Do I think they can contend for the title? Potentially. Do I think they can win it? No. I think if Liverpool, though, sign one top CDM, I think they can do it. I think if they sign Caicedo in the summer, they potentially go on to contend and even win the Premier League this season. I think they're that quality CDM away from winning the league title. They've improved their midfield massively compared to what it was last season with players like Henderson in there. Now they've got Gravenberch, who was brilliant yesterday as well, to be fair, and Szoboszlai going forward, and McAllister as well. But the fact that they still don't really have that out-and-out CDM and they're having to play McAllister there because he doesn't trust Endo, I think they need that. I think they need a CDM. I think if they get a quality CDM, Liverpool could be back to their best. They really could, because going forward, they're so dangerous. Defensively, they're looking really solid again this season, picking up, a lot of clean sheets. So, Liverpool, good result. Not the best performance. need a CDM to properly win or contend for the league title, in my opinion. Next game we're going to be discussing Manchester City versus Brighton. So a few losses now for Brighton, but you have to look at the teams that they have played as well. Aston Villa away, shouldn't be losing 6-1. I don't care who it is, you don't lose 6-1, especially if you're a team that's meant to be contending potentially even for Champions League. But it is Aston Villa away. It is Manchester City away. They have been losing games that you'd probably expect them to lose as good as they've been. And yeah, look, not the worst performance yesterday from Brighton. They came back a little bit in the second half. Good counter-attack from them. Good finish from Ansu Fati. But Manchester City were just clinical in that first 20. Another red card in this game. A lot of red cards this weekend. You had the Ashley Young one. You had this one. You had some red cards in other games. But yeah, I think Manchester City were clinical in that first 20. Second half, they weren't in their free-flying best, which they haven't been in the last few games, and I think they need to get back to that. And I think they, it was important to have Rodri back, and you could see the difference, but they still need De Bruyne back in that team for me. But yeah, big win for Manchester City, 2-1, pretty comfortable to be honest. Brighton got, the goal back in the second half, but didn't really offer anything after that, even though City were down to 10 men. And yeah, they move on to the Manchester derby in a week. Speaking of the Manchester derby, we're going to have to speak about the other side of Manchester United. Yet again, another performance that wasn't brilliant, but individual moments FC pulled through. Similarly to the Burnley game where Bruno Fernandes scored that fantastic goal to get him out of trouble, Dalot scores a fantastic goal to get them out of trouble in this one. And, it really was a fantastic goal. I think in the first half, Sheffield United were better. I think Manchester United in the second half, if anyone was going to score, it would have been them. They had a lot of chances, the Amrabat chance, which hit the bar, the Rashford chance, even in the first half where it went across goal. They had more chances in that game, but Sheffield United, they were better yesterday. They were better. I do think they'll go down. I don't, really see them putting up a fight, to be honest. I really don't see them putting up a fight. I think they're out of their league, quite literally, in the Premier League. But yeah, Man United, again, getting a result narrowly against Sheffield United. I'm not impressed with Man United at all. And I really hope they get smashed by Manchester City, because I hate seeing teams that aren't playing well get results. I really do. It just frustrates me. I don't know what it is, because, Nottingham Forest, if you're a Man United fan, yes, you've picked up 9 points, or 12 points out of Wolves at home, Forest at home, Sheffield away, Burnley away, which you should be. But all 4 of those games, you could make an argument for the other team deserving something. Sheffield fought really well yesterday. You could make an argument for them deserving something. Burnley were probably the better team against Manchester United. You can make an argument for them deserving it. You're looking at Wolves' game. Wolves were by far the best team, completely dominated that game against Manchester United, and should have had a penalty in the last minute. Probably should have won that 2 or 3-1, to be honest. And the Nottingham Forest game, Manchester United got a bit lucky with that penalty, as I say, late on. And yeah, they're scoring some really good goals to get them through these games, but the performance levels, they're not where they want it to be. They are not the same team as last season. And even on paper, I know McTominay's putting in good performances, but you got players like Maguire and Dalot, who was alright, but Maguire's and Dalot's and, McTominay's still starting for Manchester United. I thought they were past that, and the fact that, a lot of people were talking about them contending for the league title this season, absolute joke. They're far off it. I was one of the only people, I believe, who actually predicted them to finish 5th this season, Manchester United. I couldn't even see them getting in the top 4, and right now, I can't see them getting in the top 6, to be honest. I know it may be top 5 Champions League now, but yeah, Man United very poor, and I do think they'll be humbled next weekend by Manchester City, who will be eager to prove a point. Man United, not been impressed with them at all this season. Moving on to the next game, Bournemouth 1, Wolves 2. Really good result for Gary O'Neill. He would have really enjoyed that one, going back to the club that sacked him so harshly and that shouldn't have sacked him, picking up all 3 points. Yeah, good performance from Wolves. They're gaining some momentum now. As I say, really, really good results recently. 7 points out of a possible 9 against Manchester City at home, Bournemouth away, and Aston Villa at home. Aston Villa absolutely flying. Got a point out of that. Fair play to them. The Manchester City result is absolutely fantastic. It doesn't matter the form Man City are in. To beat Man City is absolutely fantastic. And, they had Rodri for that game as well. So, absolutely brilliant there from Wolves. Absolutely brilliant result there from Wolves and performance. And yeah, good result again yesterday. 1-0 down, came back, scored a late goal. Sasa, just like he did against Everton, that guy's putting in some good performances. Now, fair play to Gary O'Neill. I think they're a team that I certainly questioned them going down at the beginning of the season. I didn't think they had enough to stay up, and the quality isn't necessarily there, but the team spirit is. Against Manchester United, really unlucky not to get something there. In a lot of the games that they lost, they were really unlucky not to get something, and now they're getting a lot of results. So fair play to Wolves, credit to them, turning into a good team. Moving on to the next one, Forest 2, Luton 2. Huge credit to Luton. I do apologise a little bit if, I do, pull some weird faces. My throat's absolutely killing me. I'm still getting over a cold. But Forest 2, Luton 2. Huge credit to Luton to be 2-0 down at the City ground. And I know they're a mid-table team, and last season were battling relegation, but arguably one of the toughest away grounds and atmospheres to go to. And come back and score 2 goals and score a last-minute equaliser. It goes to show that there's fight in that team. And as I say, ability-wise and on paper, they've got the worst team in the league. They've got players like Ross Barkley and Andros Townsend starting who are way past it. But they're getting results because there's team spirit. They're getting results because they've got a very good manager. And yeah, fair play to Luton Town. It'd be an absolute miracle to see them stay up. It'd be fantastic to see them stay up. And I'm looking at that relegation zone going, I think Sheffield will go down now. Burnley, I think, have a real good chance of going down now. And you're looking at the other spot. Could it be Everton? Could it be Wolves? Could it be Luton? Who could it be? There's a lot of teams that could potentially go down. So look, Bournemouth even as well. But fair play to Luton. Big result yesterday, as I say. Big point. Still outside of the relegation zone. I think any Luton fan, if you would have said you could have been outside the relegation zone at this point in the season, would have bitten your hand off for it. So fair play to Luton Town. How have we not discussed the Geordies yet? Newcastle United 4, Crystal Palace 0. I should have done that one a lot earlier, to be honest. Newcastle back at their free-flowing best. Very dodgy start to the season from them. A couple of poor performances, poor results. The Liverpool one springs to mind. 1-0 up against 10 men. Liverpool came back to score 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. Shouldn't have let that happen. The Brighton away performance, very poor from Newcastle. But since that, they've really kicked on. They're looking like the team they were last season when they're taking teams apart at home. And as I say, I would say that St James's Park is the toughest place to go to right now in the Premier League. I think the atmosphere is absolutely unreal. I think it's so difficult for teams to get results there. And yeah, they just take teams apart there, don't they? Absolutely take teams apart. And their defence this season has been immense as well. They got the clean sheet against Burnley. Comfortable 2-0 win there. Beat PSG as well the other week. What an absolutely unreal result that was. Thrashing Kylian Mbappe's PSG. It goes to show how good this Newcastle team are. And yeah, yesterday, absolutely smashing Crystal Palace. And it makes you think, doesn't it? I predict them 7th at the beginning of the season. I'd probably predict them 6th or 5th right now. And yeah, they're kicking on right now. I don't know why we doubted that they wouldn't. Eddie Howe's got them boys playing. Fair play to Newcastle. Credit to them. Anthony Gordon's been a huge standout star for me this season for them. Last season he wasn't at his best. This season he's been fantastic. They've had a lot going on this week. The Tonali situation, which I'm not going to delve too much into. But what I am going to say is, look at the treatment of that situation compared to the one of Ivan Toney. If I was Ivan Toney, I'd genuinely sue the Premier League. But look, as I say, great result, great performance from Newcastle. Yeah, Geordie boys keep winning. Geordie boys keep winning. And the final game we are going to go through, Brentford 3, Burnley 0. Brentford needed this result. They needed this win. They'd only won 1 all season, and they got that win. Brentford were back to their free-flowing best yesterday. The 2 players who have really filled in for Ivan Toney, banging in goals, and Burmo and Viscera. I've got both in my fantasy team, so Bob's your uncle, isn't he? But yeah, really good result for Brentford. Really good result for Brentford. For Brentford. Burnley, on the other hand, look, they should have picked up more points at the start of this season, but you did look at the run they were on and say, okay, they've not had an easy one at all. They've played Chelsea, they've played Tottenham, they've played City. They've literally pretty much played all the top teams. Newcastle away. They've had a horrible run. But then you looked at the run they're on now going, they need the points. They need the points. And first game into that small little run where they need to pick up those points, they're not picking them up. Brentford away. Brentford Normally away is a really tough game, but they've not been on the best form this season. They absolutely took Burnley apart. Burnley, Vincent Kompany, could they be on their way down? They've got a massive game next weekend against Bournemouth, which I am looking forward to, as I say. But look, that does wrap it up for the Unbiased Premier League show. For today's game, I think it's going to be a tasty one. I think 4-2 Aston Villa. And tomorrow, if you want to hear my thoughts on Spurs Fulham, check out my match preview and predicted lineup. Guys, thank you for watching this video. Take care of yourselves. All the best. Have a smashing rest of your weekend. And as always, come on you Spurs. In Big Ange we trust. Enoch and Levy out. Let's get all 3 points against Fulham.